Exclusive contract with Feilu Novel Network Novel. Billions of ants generating electricity. I become the richest man by running a power plant traveling through a parallel world. Qi Zhe obtained the volt ant system. In this world of private electricity, major power plants abound, and they need to consider various costs to produce electricity. Qi Zhe only needs to raise ants and scatter 2 leaves to generate electricity biologically. Other power plants have a cost of 60 cents per kilowatt hour, while Qi Zhe's power plant has a profit margin of 60 cents per kilowatt hour, with almost zero production costs. In just a few years, monopolizing electricity and becoming an electricity tycoon. Wang Shoufu. Does the real estate industry make money? Nonsense. It's raising ants. Jack Ma. Is the financial industry making huge profits? I want to learn farming from Mr. Qi. Open the pattern. Planting trees and afforestation in the world's largest desert, building offshore power plants, etc. with a huge source of electricity. Black technology is also emerging, launching power banks that are small like nail caps and have super strong power storage. Is this stuffing a nuclear reactor in? Selling overseas is super double. Tesla. No, only considering Zhongzhe Electric'sFeilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 001 Volt Ant Plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Volt Ant system is being bound successfully. Bound the Volt Ant system, host. Qi Zhe. The current level of the system is 1. Host to be used items. 100 million electromagnetic leaf-cutting ants. The system produces leaf-cutting ants, which can obtain energy through leaves and other items, generate electricity, and have a monthly reproduction rate of 10%. Volt ants currently produce 1 kilowatt-hour of electricity per 100 leaf-cutting ants per day. Super Battery Plan. The system can retrofit one battery to store up to 100 million kilowatt-hours of electricity, with a monthly loss rate of 1%. The host can obtain a certain amount of electricity value by selling electricity. Once the electricity value is sufficient, the system can be upgraded, and points can be exchanged for system items. After hearing the sound coming from his mind, Qi Zhe took a deep breath and then lit a cigarette. It has been 2 years since I was reborn into this parallel world, and the golden finger has finally arrived. Originally, my father gave me such a small power plant to eat and die, but now it seems that I am going to create an electricity empire. Unlike Blue Star, the power industry here can be privately owned, which is why my dad bought such a power plant before. It used to be a real profit, but now with the increase in costs, the profits of the power plant are becoming thinner and thinner. Moreover, with various appliances entering households, power generation is often not guaranteed, and people can occasionally be seen online complaining about local power supply companies. This cannot be blamed on the power company. After all, they are responsible for their own profits and losses. If they cannot sell more power generation, they will be at a loss. The high loss rate of electricity storage in current technology is frightening, and power plants cannot withstand it. Now that there is a cheap and stable source of electricity, where will our power plant expand? Thinking of this, Qi Zhe couldn't help but feel a little excited. Just as he was putting out his cigarette, a middle-aged man walked in with a worried expression on his face. Mr. Qi, this coal price is fixed every day, like a monkey jumping into the sky. If it continues like this, we won't be able to afford coal anymore. The person who said this, Qi Zhe, had to call him Uncle Lu. Since he took over this power plant, he has been helping him manage things big and small. Now he is also worried. The price of 1 kilowatt-hour electricity is 60 cents, and 1 ton of coal can barely generate over 3,000 kilowatt-hours of electricity. The profits of these coal power plants all depend on the coal price. If the coal price rises, their profits will be low. Now, 1 ton of coal has risen to 800 yuan. Excluding the expensive ones that require the company to be responsible for circuit laying, equipment costs, and labor costs, the profits are basically not much left. If this continues, the power plant will eventually turn yellow. So Lao Lu came over to see if Qi Zhe could move and run west to find a low-priced coal supplier. But now after hearing him finish speaking, Qi Zhe easily waved his hand. Uncle Lu, with such high coal prices and transportation costs, I have decided to stop our power plant from importing coal. Upon hearing this, Manager Lu immediately panicked. Mr. Qi, there are hundreds of people in our power plant now, and then there are hundreds of families behind us. Although the profits may be low, it's possible that coal prices will come down on that day. Do you think we can continue to support it? After Manager Lu said this, Qi Zhe realized that he should have been misunderstood. After taking out a cigarette from the cigarette box on the table and handing it to him, Qi Zhe finally spoke up. Uncle Lu, you misunderstood me. I not only want to keep our power plant going, but I also want to give you a raise in wages and benefits. Coal power generation is outdated now, and we need to make changes and take an environmentally friendly approach. Mr. Qi, don't be joking. We don't expect to increase salaries. Just keep our current job. What about environmental protection? Our industry is not unclear. The cost of environmentally friendly power generation is low, but the power generation is also low, which is not enough. Uncle Lu, you're looking down on me now. At least I came back from studying abroad, and my major is this. Don't worry, I'll inform everyone later. As soon as Uncle Lu left, Qi Zhe directly opened the safe, which contained a building diagram of the entire power plant. Pingyang is close to the seaside, and the urban area is already small. All large enterprises have been absorbed by the seaside, and there are no large enterprises in industrial electricity consumption. However, there are still more than 10 power plants of all sizes. Although Qi Zhe's power plant is not small, it is also not small. If we can rely on cheap electricity and stable power supply, Qi Zhe believes that we can definitely integrate the entire electricity market in Pingyang, and then expand our reach to big cities like Binhai. After reviewing the architectural drawings in his hand, Qi Zhe decided to directly remove the largest workshop, which is also a centralized power generation workshop, and replace it with a breeding site for ants. In addition, the cooling tower and ash storage bin must also be removed. Since these traditional methods of power generation are not used, there is naturally no need for these things to exist. As for the workers, there is no need to worry at all. Previously, they did the work of putting coal into the combustion furnace, but now they have switched to putting the nutrients needed by ants into the breeding pool. According to the system's prompt, Qi Zhe immediately contacted a coastal manufacturer and asked them to urgently send over thousands of square meters of electromagnetic collection boards. These electromagnetic collection boards will be uniformly placed under the ant pool, so that the electromagnetic energy generated by the ants can be automatically collected and uniformly allocated for storage. After hanging up the phone, Qi Zhe got up directly and went outside the office. Along the way, there were not few people greeting Qi Zhe. Although he was very young and was thrown away by his cheap father after graduation to hone his skills in such a small and medium-sized factory, the workers still respected Qi Zhe for 2 years. After all, Mr. Xiaoqi never defaults on wages, and the benefits in the factory are better than those in several other large power plants. After briskly walking to the largest workshop, Qi Zhe directly approached the person in charge of the workshop and asked them to put all the remaining coal into power generation to maintain the maximum power operation of the machine. Upon hearing this, the person in charge of the workshop immediately made a mistake. Mr. Qi, now that the coal storage capacity is so low, how can we adjust after we invest all of it in one go? And as you know, the loss rate of electricity reserves can be saved by 50% in a week, which is good. If there is a power outage, our users will inevitably be taken away by other companies. The person in charge was reasonably worried, but Qi Zhe just lightly patted his shoulder. Don't worry, just do as I say. I'll work overtime these past few days to burn all this coal. If you work hard, masters, the overtime pay will still be 3 times. After speaking, Qi Zhe went back to the power reserve department and then fixed his gaze on the huge power storage room in front of him. Without hesitation, Qi Zhe silently remembered to use super batteries in his heart. Then a blue light that no one could see swept through the storage room in front of me, and a hint came to my mind. The super battery has been activated, and the current maximum storage capacity has been upgraded to 100 million kilowatt hours. 002, let's borrow some money from someone. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Leaving aside the huge capacity of 1 billion kilowatt hours for now, although Pingyang is considered a giant, some super cities, such as coastal power plants, have even over 1 billion kilowatt hours of energy storage equipment. But the monthly loss of this reserve electricity is only 1%, which is terrifying. You should know that the energy storage equipment produced by the world's most advanced technology can only achieve a monthly loss rate of 13%, and that is still due to the investment of huge research and development funds and various cutting-edge technologies. If the energy storage equipment in Qi Zhe's factory is converted to a monthly loss, before, it is estimated to be over 30%, but that is the remaining electricity. This is the norm for most power companies, where they do not invest huge amounts of money in energy storage, and generally try to generate as much as possible. As for why the power storage suddenly increased so much, Qi Zhe was too lazy to explain. After all, as long as there were no problems with the data, the employees below would not notice any abnormalities temporarily. After finishing these things, Qi Zhe went outside the factory and then dialed a phone number. Hello, Director Li, right? Yes, I'm Qi Zhe. Can I treat you to a casual dinner tonight? Let's talk about something. After hanging up the phone, Qi Zhe drove his tens of thousands of yuan Audi directly to the downtown area of Pingyang. The person he contacted was a director of the Environmental Protection Department, and there was nothing else he could do but talk about cooperation. Environmental sanitation workers have to clean up a large amount of fallen leaves every day, especially during this season. If the leaves cleared every day are collected, their food for 100 million leaf-cutting ants will temporarily be available. And at that time, I can provide subsidies to those sanitation workers with my own money. A cart of fallen leaves can provide some money, and the Environmental Protection Department probably agrees. Anyway, those fallen leaves are all sent to garbage trucks for incineration. Now that someone is taking over, they can still save a lot of garbage burning fees. However, when it comes to money, Qi Zhe feels a bit worried. Not to mention the sanitation department, just the 1,000 electromagnetic collection boards he just ordered are not a small number. One piece is over 800 yuan, and the total cost is over 800,000 yuan, plus estimated transportation costs of over 1 million yuan. I don't have enough money on me at all. After deducting fixed expenses every month, it's not bad if I can keep several 100,000 yuan on the factory's books. There is no need to talk about finding family members. Although my cheap father's company in Binhai has a market value of over 10 billion yuan, there is basically no way to ask him for money, as can be seen from the second-hand Audi he drives. Raising children in poverty and raising daughters in wealth is the father's concept. Although his family does not have a daughter, the cheap father still implements the concept of raising children in poverty. After thinking about it, Qi Zhe let out a sigh and then thought about it. He could only find one person. Gu Qinghan, the daughter of a neighbor in the opposite direction of the Binhai family. According to his cheap father, he wanted to trade himself for Gu Qinghan since he was young. Her daughter is so kind, cute when she was young, and even more amazing when she grew up and became successful. Unlike his own family's poverty-oriented strategy, Gu Qinghan was raised by uncle and aunt Gu from a young age. Similarly, after graduating, he was demoted to a factory worth 10 to 20 million yuan in Pingyang, while Gu Qinghan was directly invested by Uncle Gu and started his own company, which is still thriving. Last time she drove a car worth millions when she got home, and at that time she even joked about it. Although there was a lot of bickering, the two of them were together from kindergarten to university, and their relationship was so good that there was no need to say anything. Therefore, Qi Zhe felt that there was no problem speaking to her at this time, and she definitely wouldn't leak any information. Stopping the car on the roadside, Qi Zhe took out his phone and made a direct call. After a while, the phone was connected and Gu Qinghan's cold voice came from inside. Qi Zhe. Why did you think of calling me? Back to the seaside. I just opened a grilled fish restaurant recently, it's super delicious. I'll take you to eat when I finish work. Normally, Gu Qinghan is known for his aloofness towards everyone, but he is an exception to Qi Zhe. In Qi Zhe's view, this may be the reason why the two of them wore open crotch pants together when they were young. I can tell she was quite surprised, but I haven't told her anything even more surprising yet. Although asking a woman to borrow money is a shameful thing for a boy, what Qi Zhe emphasizes is that a man can be flexible and flexible. Miss Gu, I may have to disappoint you. I didn't go back to the seaside, so I'll keep the grilled fish for the next time. I'm calling to ask you to borrow money, but continuing like this is not a solution. I plan to develop a power plant. Can you lend me some? Upon hearing that it was a loan, Gu Qinghan suddenly pouted. People who knew her would be shocked to see this scene. She was so aloof that someone could make such an expression. Ah. Then don't borrow it, unless you go back to Binhai to borrow it in person. Miss, I see that your sincerity is not enough. Don't, Miss Gu, just lend me a loan. I'll definitely repay you within a few months, not much, just 2 million. What if I don't get on yet? Why don't I promise to pay off the debt with my own life? After Gu Qinghan uttered the sentence of mutual agreement, he simply chuckled. Promise each other with your own life. That's like repaying kindness for revenge. Alright, I'll arrange for the finance department to transfer it to you. If I find out that you've taken the money to any bathing center, you'll be dead. I'll give Uncle Qi a report. After hanging up the phone for a while, Qi Zhe received Gu Qinghan's transfer. But not 2 million, but a full 5 million, and then she also sent a message. Qi Zhe, our company requires funds for operation. Apart from 2 million, the rest is all the pocket money I have saved over the years. You need to work hard and return to the seaside as soon as possible. Damn it, he can save up 3 million just for pocket money. Compared to his own father, he's really stingy. But this girl is thinking for herself. Now that she has calculated it once, 2 million is not necessarily enough. I just want to take this money for now. Once the funding was settled, Qi Zhe's mood naturally improved. With the car window open and humming a tune all the way, I arrived at the business department. I had to do something before dinner at night. Quickly, with his handsome appearance, Qi Zhe was able to complete the renaming work with the help of those aunties. Nothing else, just give the company a new name. Since Qi Zhe wants to become bigger and stronger, the name of a power plant is naturally a bit too low, so Qi Zhe completed the renaming registration with the Industrial and Commercial Department. Zhongzhe Electric Power Group. 003 Zhongzhe Electric Power Group. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qi Zhe, the legal representative of Zhongzhe Electric Power Group. Looking at the newly printed license plate, Qi Zhe's mood was really good. It's not just the name, since it's a power group, it must be replaced with a taller logo. Looking at those Fortune 500 companies and car logos, most of them follow a minimalist path. Being able to achieve simplicity while highlighting brand value is a feeling of upscale. Design fees are something that can be said to be more or less, and there is a lot of room for operation. Just like before, there was a certain rice company that hired someone to design for a price of 1 million yuan, and the finished product design remained basically unchanged from the previous product. So Qi Zhe naturally does not intend to be a scapegoat himself. The cost of 10,000 yuan is already more than enough to design a simple and elegant logo. Not long after taking out his phone, Qi Zhe posted his requirements on a professional design platform. The design of the corporate logo requires simplicity and generosity, with a total amount of 10,000 yuan. After finishing this, Qi Zhe looked at the time and it was almost time to go to the place he had chosen for his meal. Although Pingyang is close to a first-tier big city like Binhai, the local consumption level is not very high. 1,000 to 800 yuan is enough for a very high-end meal. If it weren't for business negotiations, Qi Zhe usually chooses a 15 yuan covered rice to solve the problem. After a meal, a few people enjoyed themselves both at home and abroad. They drank and ate what they needed, and the discussion of the main business went smoothly. Qi Zhe is responsible for providing some money. Each sanitation vehicle collects 1 cart of pure leaves and provides a subsidy of 20 yuan to the sanitation workers. Although the price is not high, those sanitation workers can definitely accept it. Cleaning leaves was originally their job, and now they can still exchange money after collecting pure leaves. It is estimated that their work enthusiasm will increase significantly. Sweeping a few streets can earn you a few carts of leaf money, which is really great. 3 days later, the new brand of the power plant had already been hung outside. Pingyang Power Plant, a subsidiary of Zhongzhe Electric Power Group. Although I don't understand why, everyone in the factory knows that Xiaoqi must have a career to do. Otherwise, relying on their third power supply plant in Pingyang City to create a name for an electric power group would be purely sensationalist. Since the brand has been created, perhaps Mr. Xiaoqi's family will have to invest in expansion. Since there is hope for growth and strength, the recent work mood in the factory has also been hot, and all the coal that was originally stored has been officially consumed today. At this point, except for the battery that stores over 6 million kilowatt-hours of electricity, all the things that can generate electricity in the factory temporarily have no fuel to generate electricity. So Qi Zhe immediately made the next plan and arranged for people to dismantle all internal combustion engines and motors in the workshop. A few large semi-trailers drove to the factory, and those people dismantled all the equipment one by one, loaded them all into cars, and transported them to the steel plant for sale. Seeing this bustling scene, the employees of the power plant couldn't help but discuss it. What exactly is Mr. Qi doing? The motors have all been dismantled and sold. Is the factory going to sell them? Tisk, I'm a bit worried. Is this power plant planning to continue? How could that be? Don't talk nonsense. Why not register with Zhongzhe Electric Power Group if you don't work for Mr. Qi? In my opinion, we want to develop and expand the power plant again. That's right, it's estimated that these old motors will have a higher and stronger conversion rate after being sold out and replaced with new ones. I think Mr. Qi is just tinkering around aimlessly. You don't know how expensive the new motor set is. I don't think it will take long for this power plant to be ruined by him. It would be great to just follow the original plan. Lao Huang, your mindset needs to be changed. Mr. Qi has grown bigger and stronger, and our welfare benefits can also be improved. You don't know what kind of electromagnetic collection board just arrived yesterday. Mr. Qi estimates that there will be industrial upgrading. Qi Zhe couldn't hear the conversation among these workers. After arranging for the steel plant to come and collect all the steel that could be dismantled, he directly let the temporarily idle power plant workers start cement work. There was originally a huge transmission line between the workshop and the power storage department and transformer, which was the only thing preserved. Qi Zhe asked them to build a 1.2-meter high cement wall around the workshop, and then directly instructed everyone to install electromagnetic collection boards. After the cement wall was stacked and all the electromagnetic collection boards were laid, Qi Zhe didn't know where to get a few carts of soil from. He then buried the electromagnetic collection boards underneath with soil according to his arrangement. The thickness of the soil is about 50 centimeters, so carts of soil never stop. After all the late electromagnetic collection boards were buried in soil, Qi Zhe convened a meeting with all the staff. The purpose of holding this meeting is nothing else, just to briefly introduce the future development direction to everyone. At the meeting, Qi Zhe directly proposed that in the future, power plants will change their thinking and adopt the environmentally friendly route of biological power generation, striving for the cheapest price and stable power supply, so that Zhongzhe power can enter thousands of households. After this statement was made, hundreds of employees below looked at each other, even Uncle Lu looked worried. Damn it, I didn't expect Xiao Qi to really rely on biological power generation. I think he went abroad to study and his brain was ruined. Ah, he is indeed a bookworm. He only knows what is written and doesn't know the actual situation. A few years ago, Lu Da's head didn't have a power plant. He listened to a foreign doctor's advice and started developing bio-power generation, but as a result, he lost all his money. I think in less than 2 months, our power plant is expected to come to an end. He's a loser. He's going bankrupt and can't afford to leave. We have money at home, what about us? It's so difficult to find a new job. Basically, everyone holds a view that they are not optimistic about Qi Zhe's decision to pursue bio-power generation. Uncle Lu was also sighing in his heart, but he also knew that since Mr. Qi had rented and sold all the original machines, there was no chance to turn back on this path. He could only take a step by step and see how much he could lose in the future of bio-power generation. The eyes of the servants looking at each other and the whispered discussion naturally caught Qi Zhe's attention. After taking a deep breath, he spoke up. 004 Never power off, 10 times compensation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It can be seen that everyone is not very optimistic about the prospects of our new Zhongzhe power group. In this way, I give everyone the right to choose, and if they are willing to stay and continue to work, I guarantee a salary increase and improved benefits in 3 months. I don't want to follow along. Everyone is a veteran employee for many years, and I don't make it difficult for you. I brought my resignation letter to my office, and I signed your financial statement to receive the money. Each person will directly pay you 3 months' salary at once as compensation. For those who don't want to stay, staying will not work well. Following the normal procedure, they will have to pay an extra year's salary to be dismissed. Now that they are leaving on their own, they only need to compensate with 3 months of salary, which is considered very cost-effective by Qi Zhe. Anyway, in the future, they will have to withdraw from the Zhongzhe Electric Power, that no one can squeeze their heads in, and regret will also be their responsibility. And those who stay will naturally not be mistreated by themselves. As soon as these words were spoken, there was a noticeable stir below. Indeed, many people felt that Qi Zhe was completely reckless and wanted to wait until the factory went bankrupt to make a living on his own. Now that he resigns, he can still earn 3 months of salary, which is a temptation for them. And there are still many old employees who have emotions staying here, let alone working in the power group, which can be considered a decent job. It's hard to say where they can go. If they go bankrupt, they can just look for a job and stay for now. After some hesitation, someone finally stood up. Mr. Qi, I would like to resign. Me too, Mr. Qi. I can't see the future of the power plant. After resigning, I still want to start a small business. Mr. Qi, since you insist on doing something about bio-power generation, I don't quite understand. I have to resign. The next step is also simple. Qi Zhe directly asked someone to send a piece of paper to those who chose to resign. They wrote the resignation letter on site, followed by Qi Zhe signing it on site, and the finance department distributing the money on site. It's quite satisfying to see the finance department pay money. Although there are no benefits for the basic salary of 3 months, Qi Zhe's power plant has always treated them well. The basic salary of 3 months adds up to 13,000, which is not low in Pingyang. Many people are itching to see that over 13,000 yuan, so they directly write a resignation letter and then sign the financial statement to receive the money. On the surface, Qi Zhe looked indifferent, but his heart was different. Interestingly, I didn't expect that there were a lot of people resigning. I only have a total of 5 million in my pocket, and I have already spent over 2 million. How much promotion money can I keep in my pocket if this continues? Fortunately, after the wave of resignations, the remaining people were all those who firmly chose to keep going. A total of 86 people left, and Qi Zhe spent more than 1 million yuan on these people. But in Qi Zhe's opinion, it's worth it. Okay, since everyone chooses to stay, Zhongzhe Electric Power Group will naturally not treat everyone unfairly. I will leave work early today, everyone will go home early, and start work on time tomorrow. Except for the security department of the power plant, everyone else left the factory and Qi Zhe felt worried. These 100 million volt ants cannot be extracted just by extraction, they appear out of thin air and cannot be seen by others. So that night, Qi Zhe found a truck and personally drove it, showing his face in front of the guard. The next day, when the workers arrived at the power plant workshop, they saw many empty boxes scattered on the ground, with signs of ants on them. Before going to work, the security guard also chatted with people familiar with the factory and talked about Mr. Qi personally driving a truck to bring a load of things into the power plant last night. Regarding this technology, Qi Zhe's explanation is confidential, and he is not worried about others plagiarizing. A single sentence of trade secret can summarize everything. After everyone arrived, the leaves collected overnight by the Environmental Sanitation Department were also transported to the factory. Then Qi Zhe arranged for someone to throw some leaves directly onto the soil blocks on the electromagnetic collection boards, and everyone saw a novel scene. Countless ants crawled out and built their nests overnight. Then, when they saw the food, they all became busy. The sharp front claws directly cut open the leaves and transport them into the cave. Over time, the current values on the large screen have also changed. I'm going. We're generating electricity. We have electricity. With a shout, everyone noticed that the current collected by the electromagnetic collection board was slowly rising and transported to the power storage department through the circuit. Nyo. Nyobi. It's indeed high-tech, it can really generate electricity, I didn't expect it. I'll just say, Mr. Qi has changed the name of the factory, so it must be for industrial upgrading. Listening to the discussion among the workers, Qi Zhe gently raised the corner of his mouth, then exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and looked at the large area of land still empty in the workshop. Although there are enough of these 100 million volt ants, as ants, they have not yet occupied 1/5 of the land here and must be expanded in the future. In addition to the natural reproduction rate provided by the system, they can increase by 10% every month. I still have to earn a certain amount of electricity value and exchange it with the system. Alright, everyone return to their respective positions. The production department should keep an eye on them. If there are no leaves in the pool, add them. Adding leaves to the pond is much easier than filling coal in front of a hot furnace before, and everyone is happy. What Qi Zhe needs to do next is to crazily expand the market on the basis of existing customers, and provide appropriate benefits. However, it is impossible to significantly reduce electricity prices, even though relying on ant power to generate high profits is terrifying. But lowering prices is not something that a qualified capitalist should do. Moreover, once a price is lowered, other power plants will think that they will lower the market and engage in a price war. Currently, the size of their own company is still small, not to the point of engaging in a price war. So Qi Zhe plans to take a different approach and directly proclaim that power will never be cut off. Nowadays, everyone produces and uses as much as they want, and it is inevitable that there will be several peak power outages within a month. We have our own super battery plan and low-cost stable ant power generation. It can completely avoid power outages. Directly proclaim that you will never cut off power and tell the market that as long as you use electricity from Zhongzhe Electric Power Group, excluding force majeure and circuit equipment problems, if there is a power outage due to insufficient power supply, you will lose money. Not only will we compensate for all the electricity expenses of the current month, but we will also double or 10 times the compensation to customers. When the slogan of 10 times compensation is promoted, Qi Zhe believes that many people will choose Zhongzhe Electric Power. As for the issue of being able to afford 10 times compensation, it is impossible for oneself to lose power. Therefore, let alone 10 times, 100 times oneself dares to claim compensation. The data of the new book is particularly important, and I believe everyone knows it. Moreover, this book is relatively slow and traditional, so it is not very attractive to watch. In this way, the data provided by everyone becomes even more important. If you have free flowers and review tickets on hand, please give me some. Thank you all. The first step in opening the market. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The 100 million volt amps provided by the system can generate 1 million kilowatt hours of electricity per day, and the average price of 60 cents per kilowatt hour is 600,000 yuan. The cost that the company needs to bear is only the cost of circuit equipment. But circuit equipment is only a one-time cost. As long as the circuit is installed for new users, there will be no other subsequent expenses. As for labor costs and maintenance costs, they can be almost negligible under high profits. Due to the cost of circuit installation, now it is basically a building in a community voting to choose a power company. Qi Zhe and his team, as the third-ranked power plant in Pingyang City, currently provide electricity to a total of 78 residential areas, 13 office buildings, and 8 surrounding towns in the city. According to the previous average, the combined daily power supply of all these residential office buildings and 8 surrounding towns is about 300,000 kilowatt hours, which can generate nearly 200,000 electricity bills per day. The first and second-ranked power plants together almost capture most of the electricity market in Pingyang. What Qi Zhe needs to do now is to expand the market. Looking at the report on the table, Qi Zhe thought for a moment and decided to start from the easiest place to open the first step. It's just local factories and enterprises, all of which are large electricity consumers and have high requirements for power stability. They can't accept occasional power outages. After all, for factories, power outages mean shutdown. However, most residents in the community only complain verbally about electricity usage, as power outages are common and not too long. After making this decision, Qi Zhe directly asked people to list several large factories and enterprises in Pingyang. While Qi Zhe was studying these enterprises, the roar of machines in the Pingdu cement factory in the suburbs suddenly stopped. As the third largest enterprise in Pingyang, Pingdu Cement is well known in surrounding cities and counties, and basically undertakes the supply of cement in the Pingyang area and surrounding areas. Apart from real estate enterprises, even the self-built houses of every household use Pingdu Cement. Under the banner, Pingdu Cement has a considerable annual revenue and is a major taxpayer in the Pingyang area. Today, Chairman Liu Baoshan is also sitting in the office. Recently, he has just reached an agreement with a large real estate company to place an order for the construction of an industrial park to the west, and he has taken over all the cement supply for the entire industrial park. The project was urgent, so he naturally didn't dare to neglect it. He personally came from the headquarters in the city to supervise the factory, in order to produce this batch of cement as soon as possible and supply it to real estate developers. But now something that made him angry had happened. When he heard the roar of the entire factory machinery outside suddenly stop, he probably guessed that there was probably a power outage. Interestingly, these so-called dogs said electricity owners are more proactive in collecting electricity bills than anyone else. When supplying electricity, they say they will cut off the power, and I really don't know what's going on. Quickly, the secretary came in and explained the reason, as Liu Baoshan had guessed. The Jiazhen power plant, which is responsible for supplying power to their factory, called and said that the weather has been hot recently, and there is a shortage of electricity supply that cannot be replenished in a short period of time. They can only stop for a while, and normal electricity supply can be restored after the peak electricity consumption period at night. Upon hearing this, Lu Baoshan suddenly became infuriated. This situation can occur once or twice a month, but now it is a crucial moment for him to focus on production, and surprisingly, it has happened again. Tell the owner of the power plant that for the second time this month, I won't need their electricity anymore. Watching the CEO get angry, the secretary below could only reluctantly leave the office. After sighing, Lu Baoshan lit a cigarette. He had worked at changing power plants before. Over the years, he had changed to 3 different home appliance factories, and every one was like this, with occasional power outages during peak electricity usage periods, all of which looked like birds. It's impossible to keep the motor running at full power 24 hours a day just to save some money. Pingdu Cement Factory, as one of the largest enterprises in the surrounding area, consumes over 400,000 kilowatt-hours of electricity per day, making it a major electricity consumer. Juewei Food Processing Factory is also one of the larger enterprises in Pingyang. The entire industrial park also consumes a considerable amount of electricity, with a daily electricity consumption of 70,000 to 80,000 kilowatt-hours and peak periods exceeding 100,000 kilowatt-hours. This has been silently recorded by Qi Zhe. Next is the largest industrial park in Pingyang, Pingyang Industrial Park. There are over 20 enterprises settled here alone, and the electricity consumption of the entire park is about 800,000 kilowatt-hours per day, which is basically the highest electricity consumption area in a single area of Pingyang. Qi Zhe plans to temporarily release this, even if it can be negotiated, he cannot supply it temporarily. The remaining miscellaneous small and medium-sized enterprises, Qi Zhe just glanced at them. These smaller enterprises, as long as they advertise their brand, don't have to look for them themselves, they will actively come to them. As long as you take the first step, not only will you sell your electricity, but you can also earn a portion of the electricity value. You can use the system to exchange more volt-amps and continuously generate electricity to make money. Although 1 million kilowatt-hours of electricity is enough on this day, it is not very enough even after expanding the market. The number of ants must be increased again. After thinking about it, Qi Zhe decided to find this Pingdu cement as the first step in earning electricity value and expanding the market. They are not small in size, but they are not too tall compared to Pingyang Industrial Park, which is most suitable for the current Zhongzhe power group. The next morning, Qi Zhe drove his second-hand Audi to the Pingdu cement factory in the suburbs. Arriving at the door, Qi Zhe only said he was here to discuss business, and the security guard did not stop him. After a simple registration, Qi Zhe was directly allowed in. Although it doesn't look very expensive, it's still an Audi, so it's not surprising for such a car owner to talk about business. After finding the parking lot and parking the car, Qi Zhe picked up the prepared contract in his bag and went to the tallest office building in the factory. He originally planned to talk to the CEO of Pingdu Cement yesterday afternoon, but the person at the headquarters told him that their boss has been in the factory office these past 2 days, which is why he came here. Unlike most male workers in the outside factory area, the clerks inside the office building are mostly female. It can be seen that Pingdu Cement is indeed quite large, as can be seen from the number of young female college students among the clerks. "Hello, may I ask who you are looking for?" After giving Qi Zhe a sweet smile, he also smiled and told the front desk his purpose. "Hello, could you please help me contact your Mr. Lu? I need to talk to him about something." 006, it seems like he's really here. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Lu Baoshan heard the secretary say that the person in charge of a power plant wanted to find him, he thought for a moment and agreed. It is estimated that the owner of the power plant in Jiazhen has come over to apologize for the 2 power outages this month. This is just the right time. I can give him a good warning and replace the Jiazhen power plant if there is another power outage in the next few days. "Hello Mr. Qi Zhe, our CEO is asking you to come up. This way, please." Speaking, the front desk stood up and took Qi Zhe to the elevator entrance, then personally took him to the top floor of the chairman's office and knocked on the door. After a "please come in" sound came from inside, the receptionist made a "please" gesture to Qi Zhe and opened the office door. Seeing this, Qi Zhe walked in directly. "Lao Jia, it's not me who said that if you lose power again, I will directly dismantle your power plant and replace it with a new one." Lu Baoshan was just saying that when he saw a young man walking in, he was also stunned. He wasn't the owner of Jiaxin Power Plant, so who is this? Seeing Lu Baoshan, the boss of Pingdu Cement in front of him, with a look of shock on his face, combined with his swearing words just now, Qi Zhe also realized that he probably recognized the wrong person. "Mr. Lu, you misunderstood. I am Qi Zhe, the person in charge of Zhongzhe Electric Power Group, not from Jiaxin Power Plant." Zhongzhe Electric Power Group. After hearing this name, Lu Baoshan felt a bit unfamiliar, but could such a young person become the head of a group? I guess this group is not very reliable either. Although he was muttering in his heart, Lu Baoshan still had to put in some superficial effort. First, he invited Qi Zhe to sit down, and then he asked his secretary to go to coffee. Doing business, but whether it's successful or not depends on the surface effort being done well and being friendly. Having multiple friends is better than having multiple enemies in the future because you look down on them. So Lu Baoshan still had no hint of disdain on his face, and when his secretary brought the coffee, he kindly spoke up. "Mr. Qi, right. Nowadays, most of you young people don't drink tea very much, so you asked your secretary to serve you coffee. I heard that this coffee was brought back from abroad, but I don't know how it works. You can try it." Qi Zhe understood Lu Baoshan's appearance in his heart, but he wasn't in a hurry. If he brought out the name of his cheap father, Lu Baoshan would probably sell himself face and sign the contract. "But now that I have a system, what else do I rely on, Dad?" Moreover, Cheap Dad was always reminding him not to do anything under his banner, just to exercise himself. After taking a light sip of coffee, Qi Zhe nodded. "Not to mention, this coffee is very mellow and delicious. Mr. Lu, I just heard from you that you seem to be worried about power supply." This matter was not supposed to be a secret, so when Qi Zhe asked Lu Baoshan, he made it clear and straightforward. "Yeah, it's not like I said. The money for running a power plant comes quickly, but could you please improve the service? The power outage happens every few days, and I'm still rushing to produce. What's going on with me? When it comes to this, I'm very angry. If it delays the production schedule, I'll have to pay a penalty if I miss the big order." Lu Baoshan's anger did indeed rise, so he picked up a box of huazi and handed it to Qi Zhe, then lit one himself. After seeing that Lu Baoshan did indeed look angry, Qi Zhe felt secretly pleased. "I didn't expect to happen to have a power outage these 2 days, so my intervention should have been much smoother." Although he was secretly happy in his heart, Qi Zhe did not show any signs on the surface, but instead looked worried. "Alas, Mr. Lu, you have indeed suffered a lot. You said that you have taken on this order, and a few more power outages have delayed production and missed the delivery date. It's really difficult for you to handle this." It's a bit strange for Lu Baoshan to hear Qi Zhe say this. This kid is the person in charge of the electric power group, and now he's talking bad about the power plant with himself. You should know that in the past, when I had dinner and chatted with some power plant owners complaining about this, they were all bitter enemies. They poured out bitter water in the opposite direction, saying that power plants are also difficult and not easy to talk about. So now this Qi Zhe is thinking for himself instead. Where is this performance? Seeing that Lu Baoshan was not saying anything, Qi Zhe felt that the timing was also around, so he slowly spoke up. "Mr. Lu, that's where the problem lies, so I sincerely hope that your company's future power supply will be provided by Zhongzhe Power Group. I can guarantee you uninterrupted supply of sufficient electricity to your factory for 365 days a year." After Qi Zhe finished speaking, Lu Baoshan remained silent. After shaking his cigarette ash, he took a deep breath and looked at Qi Zhe with a meaningful expression on his face. "Mr. Qi, it's quite easy to say. I might as well tell you that all your power plants have the same system. When I changed the power plant, the owner of Jiaxin Power Plant personally promised me that it would definitely cut off my electricity. What about the result? During peak electricity consumption, it's not just about cutting off. What Lu Baoshan said is quite true. He has switched to several power plants for supply, and most of them use the same route. When it comes to ensuring power supply, the sound is deafening, and if there is really no electricity or power outage, one by one, he will only use excuses like, "no way," during peak electricity usage, to avoid it. After Lu Baoshan finished speaking, Qi Zhe still maintained a smile on his face. If it were other power plant owners, they probably wouldn't be able to put on a smile at this moment. After all, they promise, but they only dare to promise. The people at their power plant know how many power outages they have in a year. Passing Lu Baoshan over to Hua Zi just now, Qi Zhe confidently spoke up. "Mr. Lu, I'm not making a verbal promise. The contract is here. Take a look, as long as there is a power outage outside of force majeure, I will compensate your factory 10 times. Lu Baoshan's factory consumes nearly 400,000 kilowatt-hours of industrial electricity in a day, and the electricity bill alone is several million in a month. If there is a power outage and compensation is 10 times what Qi Zhe said, it would be tens of millions. This is not a small number." At this moment, Lu Baoshan's face became solemn. It seemed that the young man in front of him was serious, not joking. "Mr. Qi, please wait a moment while I take a look at the contract." After speaking, Lu Baoshan picked up the contract that Qi Zhe had placed on the table and carefully read it. "P.S. It's really miserable. I have a psychological expectation that few people will read this niche original article, but I didn't expect it to be so rare. However, I have decided to continue writing for now, so I hope that readers who can see it here don't hesitate to have free flowers and review tickets in their hands. If you can encourage me, please encourage me. Friends who don't have free flowers and review tickets think it's okay to read. If you want me to continue writing, please take a few seconds to squeak in the comments section. Let me know that I'm not the only author and reader of this book. Please." 007 wins the contract for Pingdu Power Plant. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although he is a rough guy, after working in the mall for so many years, Lu Baoshan can naturally understand the rules and regulations in the contract to develop Pingdu cement to the current level. He could easily see that kind of yin-yang contract at a glance, such as adding a clause in the contract that could be exempted from responsibility due to certain reasons, but after reading the entire contract provided by Qi Zhe, Lu Baoshan really didn't find any loopholes. Moreover, the contract clearly states that as long as the power outage is not caused by force majeure, earthquakes, tsunamis, or other uncontrollable events, as well as conventional circuit aging, the electricity user will be compensated 10 times the monthly electricity bill. Since they dare to offer this condition, they naturally do not intend to compensate, which means it is really difficult to have unexpected power outages from time to time. As long as a stable power supply can be ensured and the factory can produce at full power anytime and anywhere, Lu Baoshan cannot help but be moved. "Mr. Qi, please wait a moment. I'll go out and come back soon." After nodding, Qi Zhe was not in a hurry, leisurely drinking coffee and smoking huazi. Not to mention, huazi is quite easy to smoke, at least it tastes better than the dozens of yuan cigarettes he tried. After arriving outside, Lu Baoshan went directly to the adjacent office and then asked his secretary to check the information of the Zhongzhe Electric Power Group and quickly brought it to him. The contract is true, but Lu Baoshan is afraid that Qi Zhe will say, pre-deposit the electricity bill when signing the contract later, so he will have to doubt its authenticity. After all, it's not uncommon for people to turn around and run away with money after signing a contract these years. If they turn around and run away, they wouldn't dare to open a contract with compensation of 10 times or even 100 times or 10,000 times. Soon, the information about Zhongzhe Electric Power Group was brought up by the secretary. Lu Baoshan carefully examined it before realizing that the predecessor of the so-called Zhongzhe Electric Power Group was a power plant in the city. The power plant was said to be large or small, and many people were using their electricity. Has it changed its name to Zhongzhe Electric Power Group now? Lu Baoshan's keen sense of business suddenly reminded him that this young man is going to do big things. First, change the name, and then come and attract a big customer like myself. If they dare to provide a guarantee of power supply and offer 10 times compensation for power outages, it is estimated that they will expand their power plant. Since the power plant really exists, and both the legal representative and the person in charge are Qi Zhe, then there is no problem. If people run away, the power plant cannot run away. Lu Baoshan also has confidence in this contract. Let the people from the legal department come over. After explaining this sentence, Lu Baoshan got up again and returned to his office. Mr. Qi, to be honest, I have carefully considered this contract. It is not impossible to replace the electricity used by Jiazhen Power Plant with that of your Zhongzhe Power Group, but your electricity price is not outrageously expensive, is it? As a small business, the cost cannot be too high. In Lu Baoshan's view, since Qi Zhe dares to guarantee never cutting off power anytime and anywhere, the operating cost of their power plant is estimated to rise sharply, and the wool naturally comes from the sheep, so the electricity price is estimated to be higher than other power plants. Although it's a bit expensive, as long as it's not too outrageous, the extra electricity price can be considered stable and he can accept it. Putting down the coffee in his hand, Qi Zhe laughed. Mr. Lu, you are really good at joking. With so many billion yuan worth of cement industry in your mouth, it has become a small business. You are embarrassing me. If you are a small business, then what is my financial situation? After saying this joke, both of them laughed. Ha ha ha, I'll just casually say, Mr. Qi is young and promising, so don't take it to heart. So what electricity price does Mr. Qi always plan to offer? I'll tell you directly that the electricity price remains the same. They offer a price of 60 cents per kilowatt hour, which is the same as mine. When Qi Zhe said this, Lu Baoshan was stunned and didn't expect the electricity price to increase. Isn't this Zhongzhe Electric Power Group a charity enterprise? Having money but not making money is a bastard. Qi Zhe also understood that as long as he spoke up and offered a price of 1 or 2 cents, there was definitely room for negotiation. If he paid 1 cent per kilowatt hour, 1 million kilowatt hours would be 100,000 yuan. Over time, it was not a small number. But Qi Zhe has his own considerations. In order to expand the market now, the original price must be raised, and raising the price will block a large number of potential customers. After all, companies like Lu Baoshan's Pingdu Cement, which are wealthy and willing to pay a few cents more for stable power supply, are few. For the sake of future big money, Qi Zhe is naturally willing to give up this small amount of money now. After a moment of confusion, Lu Baoshan also sighed in his heart. This Qi Zhe, despite his youth, is definitely someone who does great things. His Zhongzhe Electric Power Group may not be able to establish a reputation in this Yangtze River Delta region in long time. Don't be fooled by the fact that it's only a few cents, but can most people persevere in the face of these cents without seeking immediate benefits and have a long-term vision? Okay. Brother Qi, I'm a bit older. If you don't mind, I'll call you Brother Qi. You're someone who does big things, and I believe you can fulfill the terms of the contract. I have confidence in your Zhongzhe Electric Power Group. If someone from the legal department sees it later and there's no problem, we can sign this contract today. Lu Baoshan was so generous, and Qi Zhe nodded with a smile. Okay, when I go back today, I will arrange for the staff to bring the circuit to your factory and strive to directly power on within 2 days, so that you can use the electricity from Zhongzhe Power Group. The two of them didn't talk about anything else anymore, just a few casual conversations. The person from their company's legal department also came. Although Lu Baoshan has reviewed the contract, he still needs to follow the proper procedures, and a professional lawyer can better identify some loopholes in the contract. However, soon the legal department also stated that there were no issues with the contract. So Lu Baoshan immediately waved his pen and signed his name on the contract, and Qi Zhe also made a promise to bring the circuit to Pingdu cement plant for power supply within 3 days. After signing the contract, Lu Baoshan wanted to keep Qi Zhe for dinner, but Qi Zhe waved his hand and said he didn't need to. Mr. Lu, once this circuit is laid out, it's inevitable that rumors will spread out. The people in Jia town will cause you trouble again due to changing the power supplier, so I'll go back and arrange the circuit laying work as soon as possible. It's better to power on earlier. Qi Zhe's words have added a lot of goodwill to Lu Baoshan's heart. Don't worry, brother Qi. I'm afraid he'll make a request. If there's a major power outage, the factory can be shut down for 3 days. As long as we connect to your Zhongzhe Power Group's electricity, we can provide uninterrupted power 24 hours a month. I can still afford the losses of these 3 days. All 7 vehicles from the 0084 circuit laying team have been dispatched. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. After returning to his second-hand Audi, Qi Zhe's mood was really good. I took this step myself and successfully secured the order for Pingdu Cement Factory, which was much smoother than I had imagined. Mr. Lu is also a kind-hearted person, and we discussed it on the same day. If we had a good negotiation, we could sign it directly. After returning to the factory, Qi Zhe immediately gathered the employees of the circuit laying department. In the case of private power plants, the circuits are not universal. The people in that community use the electricity from the factory and then lay out the lines, so the Pingdu cement plant in the suburbs has never had the same circuit as the one in the factory. It will take some distance to lay it over here. Although the pre-built high-voltage tower serves as a transfer point and only requires the circuit to be pulled over, it still requires time and equipment. After all, with such a large electricity consumption, high-voltage wires must be used to ensure power supply. On the road from the power plant to the cement plant, Qi Zhe conservatively estimates that the cost of laying the circuit alone would start at least 700,000 to 800,000 yuan. But this is just a small amount of money. When the circuit is connected, there will definitely be a lot of money coming in. After all, with volt-ant, this almost cost-free power generation is almost like a money detector. The circuit laying department is usually too idle, but there are still many people. This is the reason why we suddenly sign a community or several communities and need fewer people to lay the circuit. So the circuit laying department in the factory has a total of 4 classes for rent, with each class consisting of about 10 people. 50 or 60 people heard from Qi Zhe that starting from the afternoon, all 4 classes immediately joined the emergency laying of circuits from the factory to the Pingdu cement plant, and everyone became excited. Before so many people left, their morale was still affected a bit. Although Qi Zhe said he wanted to improve his treatment, everyone's hearts were still beating. But now when they heard about the circuit to be laid to Pingdu cement plant, Mr. Qi took down the power supply order for the cement plant, which made them very excited. It seems that the factory is really going to expand and develop. Pingdu Cement Factory is a well-known large factory in Pingyang City. Now that it has been taken down by our Zhongzhe Power Group, the electricity bill for that day will have to be how much? It seems that Mr. Qi's previous promise of improving treatment is definitely not empty talk. Don't worry, Mr. Qi. I will arrange for all the brothers to go out and work overtime for all 4 shifts to lay out the circuits. The head of the circuit laying department has spoken, and Qi Zhe also needs to express his opinion. Okay, everyone has been working hard these past few days, but it won't be in vain. When you pay this month, all the workers responsible for circuit laying will have extra overtime pay and bonuses. Okay, Mr. Qi said it well. Everyone must work hard, don't worry, General Manager Qi. When the workers at the bottom heard Qi Zhe's words, it was also a very awesome applause. These workers' values were very simple. As long as they were paid, as long as they were good to everyone, that would be a good thing. Now, including the communities and townships that were originally supplied by Zhongzhe Electric Power, there is an additional large electricity user, Pingdu Cement. In this case, 1 million kilowatt-hours of electricity per day is still sufficient. But just plain cement alone cannot satisfy Qi Zhe's appetite. We must slowly and step by step take down all the electricity consumption in the entire Pingyang area, and supply it all from Zhongzhe Electric Power Group. So this 1 million kilowatt-hours of electricity is not enough, so I pointed to the first electricity value and then exchanged it for volt-ant and continued to expand my power generation step by step, seizing the market. In an afternoon, 7 yellow specialized vehicles from 4 circuit-laying teams in the factory had already been printed with the name and logo of Zhongzhe Electric Power Group by Qi Zhe. 7 specialized vehicles were dispatched, and people from 4 shifts climbed directly onto the elevated ground to begin high-altitude work, laying high-voltage power lines, which naturally caught the attention of many people. Because the power plant is also located in the suburbs, surrounded by some towns, many leisure villagers are watching the excitement. Be good, take a look, climb so high. They are all professional electricians who climb high and earn more. Mom, look. There are many uncles wearing work clothes climbing up there. Zhongzhe Electric Power Group. What kind of power plant is this? Uncle Lu, this is the power plant in our town. The electricity we use is generated by them. The name has been changed now. This row of yellow cars, along with the professional uniform they're wearing, looks really impressive. If I could work for Zhongzhe Electric Power Group, I would be relieved. I don't know if they are hiring people now, but I'll ask them later. However, I guess it's uncertain. Their power plants have iron rice bowls and are decent, so they don't hire people very well. Even in the scorching sun, the workers are full of enthusiasm. After all, Mr. Qi has spoken up. This month, their circuit-laying team will receive overtime pay and bonuses. Mr. Qi is not like those leaders, just painting big cakes and picking up nice things to say. As a young person, Mr. Qi is whatever they say. Last year when the factory was doing well, even Mr. Wang, who was watching the door, had the idea of receiving year-end bonuses. That's why they chose to stay, not for anything else, but for Qi Zhe. The big move by Zhongzhe Electric Power Group not only attracted many people to watch the excitement, but also caught the attention of the people at Jiaxin Power Plant. Mr. Jia, when our team went for circuit inspection just now, they saw that Zhongzhe Electric Power Group, also known as Qi Zhe's power plant, was laying circuits. TSK, it was so hot. All 4 classes and 7 cars were dispatched, and it seemed like a big job. Upon hearing what the people below said, Jia Mingyi's brow furrowed as well. Their Jiaxin power plant is also the second largest power plant in Pingyang. Qi Zhe knows that the power plant is only so large and does not pose a threat. Why did they suddenly start laying circuits with great fanfare? Did you secure the order? In which direction are their people laying circuits? Have they all passed through those high-voltage towers? It seems that heading north, they have already laid out the electric towers in Shaowang Village, Liujia Village, and Jiaoliashu Village. Upon hearing this, Jia Mingyi suddenly sat up from his chair. He was a smart person, and upon hearing these road sections, he immediately understood what had happened. Interestingly, Lu Baoshan, who is an old man who never dies, actually wants to change the power supplier. Mr. Jia. It's not like that, isn't it? It's been our supply for so many years, isn't it? Moreover, Qi Zhe's power plant doesn't have the ability to take on such a big order. I only heard a few days ago that many people have left their factory. After glaring at the servant, Jia Mingyi took out a cigarette from the cigarette box. You know what? The circuits have already been laid, so why not lay them without power supply? Qi Zhe is burning money in a hurry. After smoking a cigarette, Jia Mingyi thought for a moment and decided to call Lu Baoshan. P.S. Thank you for your vote. I have seen that there are still very few people nowadays, so every flower of yours is even more important. It is your flowers that support me in writing. Thank you all. I hope that those who have flowers and review tickets will continue to support me, and I also thank the friends who left encouraging comments in the comment section. Thank you all. 009, Pingyang Industrial Park. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. As the second largest power plant in Pingyang City, Qi Zhe Power Plant's annual revenue is also very objective. Jiamingyi can really be considered the number one figure in this geographical area. But when calling Lu Baoshan, Jiamingyi still lowered his posture a bit. After all, Lu Baoshan's Pingdu Cement is the second largest enterprise in Pingyang. In terms of revenue, his Qi Zhe Power Plant is actually similar to Pingdu Cement, but the profits of the power plant are too low, especially in recent years when coal prices have been increasing. Hello, Mr. Lu, this is Jiamingyi. Yes, I'm calling you again to apologize for today's power outage. I promise to restore power supply immediately tonight. Since Jiamingyi made this phone call, Lu Baoshan had almost guessed. It is estimated that he knew about the installation of circuits by Zhongzhe Electric Power here. However, since he did not mention it, Lu Baoshan naturally would not mention it. That's great, Lao Jia. Didn't I say that your power supply can't be more stable? There are power outages every 3 days, which doesn't make me feel at ease at all. Right. What Mr. Lu said is that my sister has worked hard and will definitely hold a meeting to have the production department below focus on electricity production. After chatting for a while, Jiamingyi put down the phone with a gloomy expression. This dog said Lu Baoshan really said he would replace his own power plant. Both of them have been old foxes for many years, and although every word on the phone talked about this matter, Jiamingyi already knew it basically. In the past, no matter what, as a power supplier, Lu Baoshan gave some face, even if he cursed in secret, but he would never openly say it on the phone. But now, he even openly said his own power plant garbage on the phone. What does this mean? This guy has identified Qi Zhe's power plant and wants to replace himself. Since you replaced yourself. If he doesn't make any money these past 2 days, he will have to disgust Lu Baoshan. As for Qi Zhe's small power plant, Jiamingyi really doesn't take it seriously. Even if he gets the Pingdu cement plant, his Zhongzhe has not yet competed with him in terms of market share. Command to continue, from now on, directly cut off the power of Pingdu cement plant, and do not restore it for the next few days. They asked and said that due to technical reasons, the equipment in the factory has malfunctioned. I understand Mr. Jia, I will arrange it now. That evening, Qi Zhe received a call from Lu Baoshan. On the phone, Lu Baoshan told Qi Zhe about this matter. The Qi Zhe power plant had completely shut down the cement plant in his hands, and when asked about technical reasons, it was almost clear. So Lu Baoshan asked Qi Zhe to speed up the progress as soon as possible. He can't start work at all these days. For this, Qi Zhe naturally agreed to it. Due to the replacement of Zhongzhe Electric Power, Lu Baoshan's factory could not operate for several days, which was partly due to his own reasons. Qi Zhe naturally accelerated the progress without Lu Baoshan calling specifically. After agreeing on the phone, Qi Zhe called the person in the circuit-laying team again. When he found out that they were still working overtime and making progress in the dark, he also felt relieved. According to this schedule, he would work 1 more day and 1 night tomorrow, and the cement plant would start construction in the morning after tomorrow. 2 days later, the direct circuit from Zhongzhe Power Group Pingyang Power Plant to Pingdu Cement Plant was successfully opened, and Lu Baoshan's side also officially used Zhongzhe Power. At the moment of power on, Qi Zhe also received a system prompt in his mind. Congratulations to host Qi Zhe for obtaining 130,000 yuan of electricity, which has reached the host's backpack. Please check it. I don't know what the power value algorithm of the system is. Opening a Pingdu cement plant only has 130,000 electricity values, but this is temporarily enough. The 100 million Ford ants, leaf-cutting ants, in the system mall only have 100,000 electricity values. Since all the circuits have been opened, we only need to wait at a fixed time every month to collect the electricity bills from Pingdu cement plant. These days have been sunny and working overtime in the dark, and the workers in the circuit-laying team have been working hard enough. After thinking about it, Qi Zhe directly announced that he would give them a day off. If it weren't for the recent busy schedule, Qi Zhe would have wanted to give them a few more days off. In addition, the promised overtime pay and extra bonuses would also be distributed along with their salary on the payday. This move naturally brought joy to the employees of the circuit-laying team, and not only were they, but the factory was completely devoid of its lifeless appearance from top to bottom. Everyone was happy in their hearts and believed that staying was the right choice. Even Uncle Lu couldn't keep his mouth shut because Qi Zhe was able to win the big order of Pingdu cement factory. Continuing like this, Qi Zhe said that improving treatment in the future is not just empty talk. The factory is really expanding and developing bit by bit. That night, Qi Zhe silently chose to exchange for volt ants in the production pool. The 100,000 electricity value was instantly cleared, and in exchange, 100 million volt ants were placed in the production pool. There are over 200 million volt ants in total, and their daily power generation can reach 2 million kilowatt hours. Previously, a Pingdu cement plant was added, and the daily power supply of Zhongzhe Electric was around 700,000 to 900,000 kilowatt hours. Now that it has increased by 1 million kilowatt hours, Qi Zhe naturally wants to find customers. Qi Zhe is not considering the scattered commercial buildings in residential areas for the time being. It takes too much time for them to develop. As long as they sit up and let a few large enterprises use Zhongzhe power, they can cooperate with the contract of paying 10 times the compensation as long as the power is cut off. Those retail investors will naturally come to their doorstep, so they don't have to struggle to find them now. Pingyang Industrial Park, the industrial park with the largest electricity consumption in Pingyang, consumes over 800,000 kilowatt-hours of electricity per day. More than 20 enterprises have settled in the park, which translates to a daily electricity bill of around 500,000 yuan. For Qi Zhe, who has almost zero cost, this is pure profit, and Qi Zhe is naturally very envious of this big fat. Moreover, if a Pingdu cement is added to the Pingyang Industrial Park with official background support, then the 4 words, Zhongzhe Electric Power, will be considered to have completely established a foothold in Pingyang, and more people will come to seek stable power supply. This piece of fat must be taken off. 3 days later, Qi Zhe drove to the Pingyang Industrial Park. It had to be said that this place was very large, and Qi Zhe drove around for a while before finding the office of the Park Management Department. This matter requires courage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qi Zhe has a rough plan in mind regarding the Pingyang Industrial Park. In such a large industrial park, the relationships inside are also complex. When the current power supply company was determined, there must have been connections inside. After all, even though the cost of power generation is high now, as long as there is a license to operate the power plant, and then looking for such a large industrial park to supply power, one can still lie down and earn money every day. Moreover, although there may be several power outages in the industrial park within a month, everyone has become accustomed to it in recent years. Unlike the Heping cement plant, relying solely on the principle of never powering off cannot temporarily impress them. So after thinking about it, Qi Zhe felt that there was only one way he could replace it, which was to offer some benefits to impress the people in charge of the industrial park. What does the person in charge of an industrial park most want? It's a result. As long as the industrial park is operating well and the results are released, he will be satisfied and can continue to move forward. And what Qi Zhe intends to seize is this point. After parking the car, Qi Zhe went directly to the office building in the park and told the front desk that he was the person in charge of Zhongzhe Electric Power Group and wanted to talk to the person in charge of the park about something. Originally, the power supply was handled by the deputy director, but Qi Zhe chose to bypass the deputy director and directly talk to the top person in the park. In this way, complex relationships can be avoided. After all, the person in charge of power supply and the power plant have no tricks. It is better to avoid them as much as possible to prevent the other party from tripping. At first glance, the front desk is at least the head of a group, and it is not a problem for people of this level to meet the park manager. After all, what the park hopes for is for some large companies to continue to settle in and expand the entire industrial park. In no time, the front desk notified the park office. "Hello Mr. Qi Zhe, please take the elevator to Director Zhou's office on the 5th floor. He is fine now, you can go directly." After nodding, Qi Zhe got up and went to the elevator. After paying attention to his attire at the door, Qi Zhe reached out and knocked on the door, then walked in. I didn't expect Director Zhou to be younger than I imagined this week, looking in his 40s. He didn't have that greasy feeling, which gave Qi Zhe a good impression. Such a person has pursuit and won't be blinded by interests, making it easy to talk about things. "Hello Director Zhou. Mr. Qi from Zhongzhe Electric Power Group, right?" "Hello, please take a seat and don't make yourself uncomfortable." Speaking, Director Zhou personally got up to pick up a teacup and then brewed a cup for Qi Zhe and placed it in front of him. The aroma of tea hit his face, and Qi Zhe also appropriately showed a flattered and surprised look, then smiled and said, "I didn't expect Director Zhou to be so approachable that it made me relax." "Haha, it's just work. Why bother with your face? I see that Mr. Qi is young and talented. Such talents are naturally happy to meet him. By the way, I don't know why Mr. Qi came over." Seeing Director Zhou coming straight to the point, Qi Zhe no longer concealed himself and directly revealed his intentions. "Director Zhou, the purpose of my visit is to make Zhongzhe Electric Power Group the power supplier of your industrial park." Then Qi Zhe paused again and told Director Zhou about the advantages of Zhongzhe Electric Power, stating that stability starts with continuous power supply and only requires 10 times compensation for power outages. He also mentioned that Pingdu Cement has just become a power partner, which is also to increase credibility. But after Qi Zhe finished speaking, Director Zhou didn't express much. Instead, he frowned and said, "Mr. Qi, the matter of changing the power supply company involves too much. As long as there are no major accidents, such as the inexplicable shutdown of our electricity for 10.5 days, we really can't repay it for a while." What Director Zhou said is also true. After all, there are too many people and things involved in this, and it would be very difficult to directly change. After turning the teacup on the table, Qi Zhe was not disappointed, as expected. "Director Zhou, of course the difficulty is very high, but I think as long as you have the determination and courage, changing the power supply company is not impossible." When Qi Zhe said this, he was very confident, which impressed Director Zhou. He didn't expect a young person to have such confidence, which piqued his interest. "Oh. Can you always tell me why I have the courage to offend so many people to replace the power supply company? Your Zhongzhe Power Group's electricity may not be cheaper than other companies." This is what Qi Zhe wants. He wants grades, so I promise to give him a share of the grades and strive for support. This will ultimately benefit my company as well. "Mr. Zhou, I plan to build a power plant in your industrial park within 1 year, with a daily power generation of over 5 million kilowatt hours. This is the preliminary plan of Zhongzhe Electric Power Group. I want to capture the entire electricity market in Pingyang within 1 year, and then develop it into Zhoubian City. I don't need to say much about how much economic added effects and taxes a power plant with a daily power generation of over 5 million kilowatt hours can bring to the factory area, right?" After speaking these words, Director Zhou's entire face became solemn. If it's really what Qi Zhe said, a power plant with a daily power generation of over 5 million kilowatt hours can definitely elevate the park to a higher level. This is his own achievement, and he is indeed a bit tempted by the Zhongzhe Group power plant he introduced. You should know that the daily electricity consumption of the entire city of Pingyang is only a few million kilowatt-hours, and a 5 million kilowatt-hour power plant must be supplying power to surrounding cities. So where can Zhongzhe Power Group go? Thinking of this, Director Zhou feels a bit hesitant to think further. After taking a deep breath, Director Zhou glanced at Qi Zhe again. The only thing he didn't know now was whether the words of the young man in front of him were worth believing. Director Zhou offered his own choice for a cigarette. Mr. Qi, I need to research this matter. Give me some time and I will definitely give you a reply. As soon as he said this, Qi Zhe also smiled. In his opinion, Director Zhou's words had already become half of the deal. Take out the business card from his pocket and hand it to him, then Qi Zhe spoke up. Okay, Director Zhou, please let me know when he's ready. I'll leave first, you're busy. After taking the business card seriously and putting it in the bag, Director Zhou smiled and spoke up. Don't be busy, let's go. I'll see you off. P.S. A new day has begun. Those who have flower review tickets in their hands should support me. Let me tell you the real situation. Since the book was published 2 days ago, the actual collection in the background has only been over 100, which is really outrageous. I suspect that there may be a system bug, which is why I didn't want to write it. However, everyone's flowers and encouragement have pulled me back. The collection is still in a slump, so other data is even more important. Please support me, Park Street. Thank you.